Okay, Adam, we're going to talk about Life is Strange here, and also especially because we're in 2025. What are your New Year's resolutions going into 2025 in terms of video games? We'll get the bigger picture at the end, but more so as well, the big question on my mind is, will Adam Evalt revisit Life is Strange Double Exposure in 2025?
To answer your second question, no, I will not be revisiting Double Exposure in 2025.
Why?
I don't think it's gonna age too well. I think what we played of Double Exposure is what we have. You know, everybody, like, we reported on the aperture, and then we played the game, and now the narrative team has been just axed. So it's like one of those games that I wanted to play it for hand and tell, but like in terms of like the narrative team getting axed from the game well before like 2 months after it released, you know, it doesn't really bode well for me to be revisiting this game in 2025, quite unfortunately, but it is not one on my list. No.
Well, yeah, it's on my list. I don't know where it's positioned on the list, but it will be revisited because I think I need to play it from the other perspective, where it's from the other side of the game, which other people have told me that it could work, and I still have big reservations about it, but I will be a bit more open-minded when I play it. I kind of want to see where some of the loose ends were and some of the other stronger points are, because I kind of wanted to sit down and really make a lot of notes on it, because it kind of will set up what goes for the future of the franchise and where they're going to go from here, because I need to kind of understand what they were trying to shape up to do going forward, if anything, and then also how someone's going to potentially fix this depending on where they go with the direction of it. So it's on my list to revisit it along with other Life is Strange games, but I'm kind of just, my criticism stands. It won't change from it. Maybe perspectives will be a bit different depending on certain things I'm looking at. That doesn't mean that I'm going to rewrite my entire history of it. It's just more about observing certain things, because I want to see what went wrong, what went right in certain places, how you amend certain things where you can, even with a sticky band-aid, if it is possible. And I'm kind of just intrigued by, like, it's got very little replay value, because even the choices don't have that much meaning with it. So it's like, it's very hard to kind of get up to it, because in my kind of personal position right now, I've got platinums on all the Life is Strange games barring this one, and I haven't gone back to it since I've fully finished it. So it's like, it's one that is on my list. It's kind of like lingering over me like a bit of a cloud here. But in itself as well, Adam, of the Life is Strange games, are you going to revisit, or any Deck 9 Don't Nod games, anything on the list?
Well, I definitely am going to replay. I definitely want to replay Life is Strange 1 for sure. Like the original titles. I don't think I've replayed the original, like not the remastered editions in a while. So definitely want to go back to that just to see how much they've aged well. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Especially the loading screen on episode 1. So there's that. And in terms of Don't Nod, I started Remember Me, but I never finished it. So this year I do want to finish Remember Me, because I have it. I found it. I'm going to finish it. As well as I want to replay Vampire. I definitely want to replay Vampire. That's a good one to go back to. And Deck 9, of course. I want to replay The Expanse now. I want to replay The Expanse. But yeah, my whole resolutions behind games, it's not even just a number. Like, I want to beat this many video games. It's more of just like, I just want to replay games that I've always said that I'm going to go back to, and I never do, because the next one comes out, and the next one, and the next one. I want to replay games that had an impact on me, and I'm just like, oh, I'll replay that someday. 2025 is that someday, for sure.
Yeah. Well, some would say that you remember me. Hey. No, some good picks in there. I've got quite a lot on my list. Like, True Colors is on my list. I'm really keen to go back and play that.
Oh, yeah.
With different optics, like, especially with what's happened recently, because that felt like a different platform for Life is Strange going forward. And in itself as well, I was thinking recently, even the recent string of Life is Strange content, I haven't read Forget Me Not yet, but like Forget Me Not, Heat Waves, Life is Strange Double Exposure, I'm kind of intrigued where the quality is in terms of if it's up and down, if it's consistent, where it is at. Because even True Colors was like, it was Marmite, but people were really enjoying it, and some people think it's the best Life is Strange game, which is fine. Like, that's your opinion, you're entitled to that as well. And I love things about it. Obviously, love Erica Hahn, all the actors. They did great performances in it. And it was a very like safe bet, I think, if anything. So I did see some good high points in that game, if anything. But it's on my list of one of those. Obviously, the first Life is Strange, which we'll start playing at some point this month as well, going into the 10-year anniversary. Before the Storm's not on my list for the time being. I'm leaving that out because I've not had as much time, but it's not ones I want to revisit. Life is Strange 2 I want to revisit, but I also own a Switch as well. So I might even spend my money on buying the Switch version, because I never actually bought Life is Strange 2 at release. I own it, but never actually paid for it. So it's like I feel like I can support Don't Nod with that as well. And I'm kind of keen to explore it because I've not played it in a long time, and I really want to see how it's aged in different respects and how I actually feel on it playing it again. Same with Captain Spirit as well. Don't Nod as well. There's quite a few games as well. I bought Twin Mirror last year, which I haven't played yet, and I'm keen to play that because I know it's a very divisive game in that entire like catalog, and it was one that didn't financially succeed. I'm really keen to pick out Gerda. I really want to pick Gerda up as well from Portal Play and see what that happens as well, because that was the published game that Don't Nod released from them. Harmony will potentially be one as well, which I'll look at, but it's quite far down my pecking order. Vampire and Banishers, I'm keen to do one of them at least this year. That's on my list. Yeah, it's one of the ones I'm keen on doing. Obviously, I've only heard good things about Banishers, which is, it's a good game. It's just that it didn't commercially sell, but I'm kind of keen to see what it is about Banishers as well. I want to play that or Vampire. Deck 9 front as well, especially the Expanse. The Expanse I'm very keen on playing, because it's like I really want to go back and revisit that, because I think that's if Life is Strange is to be saved, I think the Expanse team does need to move on to it in certain respects, because I think their developers are still there, and that's what's going to have to happen. Whether they're Life is Strange fans or not, that's a different situation. But I think some of the key figures who worked on that game need to move over now, considering that they've axed pretty much like a large majority of the creative team, if not all of them, from Deck 9 on the Life is Strange Double Exposure project. So those are some of the games I'm kind of keen to explore, because obviously going forward as well this year, you can't forget about the fact that Lost Records is coming out, so obviously Don't Nod will continue with that. Keeping an eye on Koira as well. I'm going to see what Studio Tolima does with that. And it's a very like artsy game, and it looks quite interesting as well. And yeah, like I've kind of open-minded with where we go for 2025 resolutions. Whether we get all these games done, I don't know. That's a different story in itself. But with Switch, at least, I can play some of the games as well. I'm keen to play Life is Strange 2 at least on that, because I think the port version will be okay with that. I'm not buying True Colors. True Colors is like expensive on that, and I'm not buying the Switch port. I'll just play it on my PlayStation as well, because I haven't played the PS4 version and get the trophies from that as well. But yeah, generally speaking, it's going to be an interesting year, because I do need to revisit some of these Life is Strange games as well, and I think maybe opinions will change and feelings will change differently, and from there, hopefully, I'm hoping a big year for Don't Nod and Deck 9, because maybe not Deck 9, but at least Don't Nod as well. It's things like, considering where we're at right now, going into 2025, and then also we are literally a month away from Lost Records, Bloom and Rage.
Yes.
And that has to cut through for me. And it's like, I'm really hopeful, hoping for them, at least it does do successfully well, because the recent run of games hasn't sold well, if anything. But yeah, that's my projection so far.
Definitely. Yeah. No, I just want to replay those old games that I have played before. And I'm just like, I gotta get back to that. But you say that all the time. Like, just the next game comes out and you're like, oh, but I want to replay this. Yeah. I'm too old. I'll be turning 34. So, I'm too old to be like, oh, I gotta go into the next game. No, I want to go back. I'm going to go backwards.
Yeah, there's so many games, man, to choose from. There's like a list and lists and lists of games you can play through, and it's just like, god damn. I cut you off in the StrangeCast episode as well, because this was actually the planned segment I had for a standalone video. But you were saying that, you had other games. Were there any other games you had planned?
Definitely. One of them has to be Halo 2. Like, I know I've played that 35,000 times, but it's like, I gotta go back to it. Halo 2 is definitely one of them. Replaying Jade Empire. Like, I have it and I played it when it came out, and I never played Jade Empire since it released 2006, 2005. I think it was 2005. It was 20 years ago, basically. So I have it. I just want to replay it. And I just bought Okami for the Xbox, Okami HD, because when they announced the sequel, I'm like, I haven't played that game since it came out in 2006. So, yeah, just like games that I got to remind myself of that, like what made me fall in love with games in the first place. And I just got to get back to that. But with the commercialization of video games in the modern day, I feel like we've lost touch of like why we love games. And, with late stage capitalism and corporate overlords and corporate greed, it's just like, oh, I don't like video games anymore. You do. You just got to go back to when you fell in love, play those old games, just remind yourself, like, oh, this is why. So Okami, Jade Empire, Halo 2, of course. I'm trying to think of like there's another game like recent. Oh, I want to replay The Walking Dead. I want to replay The Walking Dead for sure.
So
like all three. I want to replay them.
Yeah, they're so good. You described me at the end where it's like so cynical about the game industry, and I really am as well on certain points. But then I do play games where I'm like, oh, this is great. But yeah, I got like a load of games we were talking about on my Switch. Like I've downloaded so many from the Nintendo sale, including Duck Detective, which will be played as well this month. So there's quite a lot of games I've got like on my list to revisit, replay. Obviously, the Life is Strange games, etc. I need to get my track back on with Yakuza as well because I got up to Yakuza 4. I think it was, and I've like stopped because of like last year. There's other games that are coming out as well this year, which I'll keep my eyes on. Lost Records and even Mixtape as well. We were talking about as well. So I'm really keen to see what happens with Mixtape if it comes out this year. Obviously, GTA is a big like elephant in the room, but it's like I'm still keeping my eyes open. But I'm not looking forward to spending loads of money on new games. I'm looking to spend it on older games and catch up on back catalogs and try other like little indie games and stuff where I can get recommendations. Night in the Woods is another one where it's like it's sitting there on my Switch, so I've got quite a few games to kind of like go through whilst I like move forward. So yeah, hopefully these are the plans for 2025. Whether that happens or not, we'll revisit in the 2026 video. We'll go from there. But yeah, let's wrap up here. If anything as well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys, as well. If anything as well, I'm Adnan. Adam's here as well. We host Life is Strange fan podcast as well called StrangeCast, which will hit hopefully 100 episodes this year. We're heading towards that milestone, so do check that out. It's available on all RSS feeds. It's available on YouTube. We also have the Lost Records Journal, which is a Lost Records Bloom and Rage focus podcast, which you can check out and will be big as well going into next month with Lost Records' first tape coming out, so do stay tuned for that as well. And obviously we have loads of interviews and content on the channel, YouTube videos about Life is Strange interviews, discussions, reactions, etc. All you need are here. So if you do enjoy the video, even if you don't, you should like the video, you should share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. We're almost at 1,500 subscribers. If you can help us get there, it'll be great. And also as well, follow us on social media, Player One vs. World. We're available on all platforms as well. We keep you up to date with a lot of news, info, and discussions, etc. So do follow us on there to get access to all your content. But yeah, we've got a lot of great feedback on the short form videos, so thank you for the last episode as well. I'm glad that people are enjoying it, so we will keep doing these as well. Hopefully it'll rotate as well, so it won't just me dragging Adam on here every single time as well. I think I've got plans with other people as well, so we'll roll those as it are. But yeah, hope you enjoy the conversation. Let us know what your New Year's resolutions are in the comments as well. I'd be interested to see which games you're going to revisit, including if you plan on revisiting Double Exposure. Let us know. Until next time, guys, see you later. Bye.
Later.